Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Celine, and I am on the global business marketing team at Facebook. As our valued partners, we're excited to talk to you about dynamic ads. So in this webinar, my colleague Gabriel will be walking us through some advanced best practices for dynamic ads to set your campaigns up for success and make the most of dynamic ads. If you're just getting started, we recommend that you check out the Getting Started guide and come back to this webinar recording at your own pace. I will post the link for the Getting Started guide in the chat for your reference, and we will also send it as a follow-up along with the recording. We will close the webinar with a live Q&A. A few housekeeping items before we get started. The webinar will be recorded or is recorded, and you will receive a follow-up email with the recording in the next few days. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Gabriel, who will walk us through best practices.
Thanks, Celine. Hi, everyone. I'm Gabriel, and I'm a product marketing manager here at Facebook. I'm excited to share with you some of our tips and tricks to get started with dynamic ads and how to make most of your dynamic ads campaigns. We're going to cover 3 topics today. We'll start with an introduction to what dynamic ads are and how they can benefit your business. Then we'll talk about best practices on how to get started successfully with your ads and then make the most of what dynamic ads have to offer. And then finally, we'll follow up with some success stories so you can see how other advertisers are leveraging dynamic ads to grow their businesses. Hopefully, at the end of this webinar, we'll also have some time to answer your questions. If you need to ask a question, go ahead and type it into the questions box inside of your GoToMeeting webinar. So let's start with an introduction to dynamic ads. And as one final reminder, some of the topics in this webinar may be a little bit advanced. And so just as a reminder, the webinar is being recorded. So if you fall behind at any point or want to pause and rewatch anything, go ahead and read the email that Celine will use or will send you at the end as a follow-up. Okay. With people using multiple devices and switching between them throughout the day, the online shopping journey is becoming even more dynamic than ever before. Recent studies have shown that 68% of shoppers use multiple devices when purchasing a product online. And 45% of all shopping journeys contain mobile. Think back to your own shopping habits, and you might realize how many times you may have recently been inspired by a product that you've seen on your mobile phone, but then later purchased on a different device. People just like you are being inspired by products and shopping across the devices they own. They might see an ad on a mobile device, but then switch over to their laptop to browse and ultimately buy them inside of a store. For example, someone may see an ad on their mobile phone, and then they might browse for their new headphones on their computer, but ultimately add the product into their shopping cart from a tablet while they're watching TV at night. And finally, make a purchase inside of their desktop computer, or maybe even inside of the store. All of this complex movement across devices and channels is a big challenge for marketers. With mobile impacting the consumer journey and influencing buying decisions, marketers need a new method for reaching their consumers, no matter which device that they use. And that's where dynamic ads comes into play. With dynamic ads, you can reach people interested in your products. When people visit your website or mobile app and take an action, such as browse a product or a category, or maybe even place an item in the cart, they're expressing explicit interest in your products. You can leverage this intent and serve people ad products that they may be interested in from your inventory. And using dynamic ads, you can reach them across Facebook, Instagram, and the Audience Network on any device they use, regardless of the original touch point with your business. Now that we have a basic understanding of what dynamic ads are and how they can fit into your media plan, Let me walk you through best practices to get started with dynamic ads. The first step in getting started with dynamic ads is setting up your Facebook pixel and app events with the Facebook SDK. The Facebook pixel and SDK enable you to reach people with intent to purchase your products. If you have an app, you'll want to use the Facebook SDK with app events for your app. And if you have a website, you'll want to use the Facebook pixel. Having the Facebook pixel or the SDK installed alone is not enough. You must have the correct events set up and properly configured on all of your properties, both your mobile website and your desktop website too. Having the correct events set up is one of the most important steps in increasing your reach and improving performance of your dynamic ads. As first step, make sure that you've installed the proper events on each of the appropriate pages of your website. For example, on your product page, you'll want to add a View Content event. On your shopping cart page, or on your Add to Cart buttons, you'll want to add an Add to Cart event. And finally, on your confirmation and receipt pages of your website, you'll want to add a Purchase event. We're also adding new events to dynamic ads, coming soon. Soon you'll be able to add events to your search pages, as well as your category pages, to increase the amount of intent that you're capturing from people browsing your website. To make sure that your events are set up properly, you can use the Product Events tab in your Product Catalog Manager inside of Business Manager. You can check that your events are set up by seeing the yellow or the green checkbox next to each of the event names from this tab. In order to find this, go into your Business Manager, navigate to your Product Catalog, and click on the Overview tab. The next best practice is to make sure that you add the Facebook pixel to your mobile website. With so many people using their mobile phones for shopping, almost all businesses these days also have mobile websites. Make sure that you have added the Facebook pixel to your mobile website so that you can capture the intent of people browsing on their phones and also be able to measure the purchases that are made there. If you have a mobile app, make sure that you have the Facebook SDK installed with app events. You can go to the Devices tab inside of the Pixel dashboard in Ads Manager to make sure that you've implemented the Facebook pixel on your site. Go into Facebook Ads Manager, click on Tools, Pixels, and then click on the Devices tab that you see inside of that interface. The Devices tab shows you a list of all of the devices on which you've placed your events, and you can double check that you have devices that you have your Facebook pixel placed on your iPhone, websites, Android websites, or broadly across your mobile website. The next best practice is to make sure that you've added the appropriate product IDs to the events inside of your Facebook pixel or app events in the SDK. You have two choices when setting up product IDs on your Pixel and app events. Use product IDs when you want to match individual products viewed on a website separately. For example, a women's ballet flat may come in red, blue, or black, and you want to recommend the specific color that someone has seen for that specific shoe. In that case, you'd want to use a product ID. You can also choose to use a product group ID. Use product group IDs when you have many different variants for your products, and you only want to show one recommendation, no matter how many types the person views. For example, you may have men's shirts in small, medium, and large. And while each of those are individual products, you only want to recommend one product at a time when someone views one of those items. If you have multiple products on a page, you can also send an array of IDs. For example, on the page where you have multiple women's flats, you can send multiple product IDs through the Facebook Pixels View Content event in order to tell Facebook that someone has viewed 3 different products from that page. And in order to check that you have all of this set up correctly, we offer a handy tool that's called the Facebook Pixel Helper. It's a Chrome extension that you install inside of your Chrome web browser, and you can use it to double check that the events on your page are set up properly and that they're matching the proper IDs inside of your product catalog. If you have trouble setting up your events, don't worry. I recommend that you ask your web developer, and most of them should be ready to help you at any time in making sure that you align your web IDs and get the appropriate events installed on the appropriate pages. Now let's talk about your product catalog. The product catalog is the second most important step in setting up your dynamic ads. Your product catalog is a data file that contains a collection of things you would like to advertise on Facebook. Each row of your catalog, which is sometimes called a product feed, contains columns of attributes that you define for each of your products. For example, you may want to define a name, description, product image, product details, prices, number in stock, and many more things. Each row of your product feed contains a different item that you would like to offer for sale on Facebook. Product feeds are common tools in digital advertising. Most marketers already use product feeds to distribute their inventory to shopping aggregators or to advertise online. The Facebook product catalog accepts the most commonly used feed formats, such as those from Google Shopping. In most cases, you can upload the same feed that you add to a shopping aggregator or that you use to advertise online with another service and send that feed directly to Facebook. To make the most out of your dynamic ads, we recommend these best practices for your product catalog. First, make sure that you're keeping your catalog up to date as often as you change your inventory. When you upload your product catalog to Facebook, you can choose to upload it hourly, daily, weekly, or even monthly. Make sure that your product catalog is kept up to date with scheduled uploads so that when your products go in and out of stock or your prices change, those changes are reflected inside of your Facebook inventory and inside of your dynamic ads. The second best practice is to make sure that you're using high-quality information in your product catalogs. Make sure that you're setting proper names, categories, and descriptions for your products. Adding high-quality information to your product catalogs is a very important step in improving your overall ad performance. If you miscategorize your products or if you add a nonsensical description, Facebook will have a harder time predicting performance and delivering better results in your ads. The third best practice is to make sure that you work with a Facebook marketing partner or use the marketing API if you need more advanced features than can be found in the Facebook Business Manager. Using the Facebook Marketing API or through a Facebook marketing partner, you can do advanced things such as set minute or hourly scheduling, and you can even do line item updates so that items can be updated in real time as they go in and out of stock or prices change. After you upload your product catalog to Facebook, you may want to debug your catalog from time to time to ensure that you're maximizing performance and that your ads are running appropriately. You can check the quality of your catalog in Business Manager by selecting the Event Sources tab. Go to Business Manager, select your product catalog, and then select the Product Events tab. This report can help you quickly identify if you have a setup problem with your Facebook Pixel or app events, or you've misconfigured your product catalog. It's also an easy way to double check that your product catalog is up to date and the scheduled downloads have run appropriately. Make sure that in this report, you're matching as close as possible to 100% of your product IDs. You can use the Product Catalog's troubleshooting tool in Business Manager to check the match rate that you're receiving on your products and make sure that you're maximizing the amount of products that are eligible to be served in your ads. Now let's talk about your product catalog and how to organize your product sets. Product sets enable you to control your bids and product recommendations for the ads that are served inside of Facebook. Choosing the right balance of clearly defined product sets can help you maximize your reach and control your spend. We recommend that you start off with a broadly defined product set with a large number of items, such as all of the items in your inventory. After you've launched your first ad served with all products, you can slowly introduce nuanced product set rules in order to improve performance. Here are some examples of effective product sets. Start by creating a product set for each product category. Next, try to set product sets for each price range. For example, items over $500 or items less than $100. Next, try product sets by markdowns or promotional pricing so that you can serve only the items that are on sale or on special offer. You can even organize your product sets by themes. For example, all items that contain the word basketball, or all products that are related to sports equipment. Starting with a broad product set and then slowly refining it is one of the best ways in order to optimize your product catalogs. Make sure that you don't get too narrow. That's another thing that we see some people doing sometimes, creating too narrow product sets on products that get very low browsing behavior. That can limit your delivery and ultimately cause you to decrease your product catalog performance. You can also take advantage of advanced features, such as custom columns in your product catalog, to add more information about your items and create more advanced product sets. Some examples of custom columns that can be added to the product feed are margins, stock levels of an item, shipping weight, as well as best sellers. Using the 5 additional custom columns inside of your product catalog, you can create advanced product sets that allow you to further optimize performance with information that is separate from the default information including in the product catalog. Next, let's talk about creative best practices for your dynamic ads. Dynamic Ads offers 2 different creative options in order to optimize how your ads appear inside of Facebook, on the Audience Network, and inside of Instagram. Those 2 options are link ads, which can be used to highlight a single product from your catalog at a time, or carousel ads, which can be used to highlight multiple products from your inventory in one single beautiful ad unit. For Facebook dynamic ads, we would recommend that you use the carousel ad unit wherever possible. The carousel ad unit not only allows you to highlight multiple products from inside of your dynamic ads, giving you more opportunities at the same cost to incentivize a person to buy, but it also delivers higher performance on average than does the link ads format. So while we offer 2 options, we definitely recommend that you use carousel for your dynamic ads. Here are some handy tips to help you think about creative considerations that can help you improve the performance of your dynamic ads. The first is to recognize that the creative inside of your dynamic ads is ultimately hosted inside of your product catalog. Inside of your product catalog, make sure that you're adding high quality imagery to your catalog. Images should be at least 600 by 600 if you want to run inside of the carousel ad format. You can add images that are higher resolution, but make sure that your images are at least 600 by 600 pixels for best results. You have many options when you're configuring your dynamic ads. In almost all cases, we've seen that including price in your ad creative can help you boost click-through rate. Make sure that you add the name, description, as well as the price inside of your dynamic ads in order to help you achieve better results. Finally, if you have an app, make sure that you're deep linking to products inside of your app in order to maximize conversions. We consistently see that for businesses with apps, deep linking inside of the app from a mobile ad results in higher conversion rates and ultimately more money for your business than does linking to a mobile website. Make sure that you're adding deep links to your product catalog and electing to deep link into your app from your mobile ads for dynamic ads. Finally, avoid making too many creative changes at a time. This may result in lower delivery, especially during high traffic or important traffic moments on your website, such as those during holiday. These are very important times in order to capture intent and maximize delivery of your dynamic ads. So plan ahead, make sure that you're not making too many creative changes during high traffic times. Make sure that you're setting up your ads in advance of those high traffic times, pausing them in order to accrue delivery and history, and then launching them right before your high traffic moments on your website. Finally, let's talk about some targeting and optimization tips for your dynamic ads. If you're just getting started with dynamic ads, a great place to start is an audience of people who have viewed or added to cart but have not yet purchased. For example, you can set up an audience of people who have viewed or added to cart but not purchased in the past 10 days. We recommend that you don't add core targeting to your dynamic ads. Since people are already shopping on your website and have high intent to purchase your product, you can assume that they're interested in your items, and you don't need to add extra core targeting on top of your dynamic ads. Unless you run a subscription service, don't forget to exclude people who make a purchase from every campaign in order to focus your campaign on acquiring new customers. You can re-engage purchasers later if they've not been back to your site in a while or have lapsed with a different dynamic ads campaign. But in general, we see performance is much higher in your dynamic ads when you exclude recent purchasers. And depending on your website traffic or your app traffic, you may want to think about some of these tips in order to maximize your reach. Increase your audience by changing your audience retention window. Extending your retention window to a longer period, for example, up to 30 or 90 days, will help enable you to reach more people that have browsed products on your website recently, and ultimately get you better delivery and more results for your dynamic ads. Also make sure that you're targeting all devices and using the cross-device reports to help understand the value of your conversions and optimize for conversions along the conversion path, no matter where people use Facebook and no matter on which device. Finally, make sure you're reaching people where they spend a majority of their time. You can extend your reach off of Facebook with your dynamic ads through Instagram and even onto the audience network. Make sure that you've opted your ads into Instagram and the audience network in order to get more delivery and better results for your dynamic ads. By selecting Instagram and the audience network in the placement box while you're creating your campaign, you can extend your reach even further. No additional work or configuration is needed on your Facebook pixel, in your product catalog, or in your campaigns in order to take advantage of these ads. All you have to do is check the box on Instagram and the audience network. You can create ad sets by action type and time period to give yourself the opportunity to vary bids by segment, decide when audiences see your ads, and to select different metrics by which you want to select your audience. It's safe to assume that people add an item to cart display more intent than people who simply browse. For example, split your targeting into viewed but not purchased, and a second ad set of added to cart but not purchased. Try setting a higher bid for people that have added to cart but not purchased, and a lower bid for people who have viewed but not purchased. You can also add a time period to your targeting. For example, you may want to bid higher on people who have viewed your products recently and less for people that have viewed your products longer ago. You can break your ads into segments by time period in which people have viewed your products. For example, you can create an ad set of people that have viewed content between 0 and 7 days ago, and a second ad set for people that have viewed content between 8 and 20 days ago. But in general, make sure that you're not segmenting too finely. Segmenting too finely may impact your delivery and ultimately decrease your performance in dynamic ads. Make sure that you're starting with a broad targeting group, for example, people who have viewed or added to cart in the past 10 days, and only after you've begun that ad and viewed that performance do I recommend that you try these more narrow targeting segments and optimization tips. You can also do advanced targeting to cross-sell your products. You can select cross-sell your products in dynamic ads in order to increase customer lifetime value by creating cross-sell campaigns. You can consider reaching recent buyers with a product related to their purchase. For example, if someone buys a camping tent, you may consider cross-selling them a collection of camping gear or related camping equipment in order to maximize following purchases and customer lifetime value. You can also choose to create upsell campaigns with dynamic ads. Dynamic ads allows you to increase your basket size and average order value by extending your campaigns with upsell. You can consider targeting existing shoppers with a higher value or higher margin item from the same category. For example, if people are browsing luxury handbags on your website, you can consider upselling them to household name brands in order to serve them an ad and a product that ultimately results in higher margins for your business. And next, here are some tips on optimization in order to get the most out of your campaigns. We recommend that you use Optimize for Conversions with product catalog sales in order to optimize for actual results rather than just clicks. We recommend optimizing for conversions on accounts that have at least 15 conversions per week on a one-day click basis. To increase your reach, we recommend using mixed placement across devices, feed, the right-hand side, and leveraging the entire Facebook family, including the audience network and Instagram. When you choose mixed placements, your campaign will be optimized for conversions automatically in the placement that delivers the best results. Next, we recommend that you bid your true value for the objective that you're optimizing for. Ideally, you'll be optimizing for purchases and passing a conversion value, which should be your bid. If you're not passing conversion values, you can try setting a bid based on the link click divided by your conversion rate. For example, if you're bidding $1 on dynamic ad link clicks and have a conversion rate of 10%, then you could bid $10 when optimizing for conversion events. Finally, we recommend that you leave your ad sets and campaigns always on. Your potential buyers are always shopping on your website, and you don't want to miss out on a potential sale. Make sure you're planning in advance for high traffic days such as markdowns as well as promotions. Lost audio. The last part of our best practices is talking about measuring the success of your dynamic ads. Once your campaigns are up and running, you can view the conversion reports in your ads manager in order to see how many people are moving between devices in your ads reporting. Here, you'll be able to see when people are seeing your ads and where people are ultimately converting. And you can use this insight to ensure that you're reaching people on the devices that they're most likely to convert. For example, in this report, you'd be able to see the set of ads that were served to people on iPhones, but then the conversions from those same people that resulted on desktop devices. This is information that is not available in your default analytics software, such as Google Analytics or Omniture, but can be very important in optimizing the success of your mobile ads. Use the cross-device reports in order to understand which devices people are viewing your ads and which devices that they're ultimately converting in order to maximize your success. In the final part of this webinar, we're going to talk about some specific examples of how advertisers like you have been using dynamic ads as well as our best practices in order to find success for their business. Our first example is from Macy's. Macy's was looking to create highly relevant and engaging experiences, especially on mobile. Dynamic ads allowed them to boost their return on sales and has become a key part of their marketing mix due to strong results as well as an ability to connect their shoppers to their products in a new and engaging way. Here's an example from Latin America. Mercado Libre, which is an online auctions and marketplaces company, has been using dynamic ads to increase sales and to reduce costs. Dynamic ads allow them to automatically set up their retargeting campaigns, quickly reaching the scale that they needed to grow their sales and to grow the conversions on their website. Besides the massive scale, they also saw 3 times the conversion rates compared to retargeting on other platforms, and at 50% lower cost per click. To share its robust product catalog with new and established customers, Lolly Wally Doodle used Facebook's dynamic ads. To begin, the company tagged every item in its catalog and then uploaded that catalog to Facebook. Lolly Wally Doodle placed the Facebook pixel on its website to understand consumer behaviors, like which products they were viewing and adding to cart. And with Facebook conversion tracking from the Facebook pixel, as well as dynamic ads, Lolly Wally Doodle was able to automatically achieve results such as a 32% increase in revenue, a 15% return on ad spend, and an increase in their average purchase order. The company chose to use the carousel ad format to feature multiple products simultaneously, linking out to the corresponding product pages on their company website according to the products that were served in the ads. And businesses are already seeing strong results with dynamic ads on Instagram too. The Canadian-based personalized jewelry retailer Jeweler is one of the first businesses to try out dynamic ads on Instagram. After seeing success with dynamic ads on Facebook, running the ads on Instagram was a natural and efficient way for them to retarget their customers based on specific actions inside of the beautiful ad formats available in Instagram. Their campaign targeted people in the United States who viewed or added a product to their cart from the Jeweler website but hadn't yet followed through with a purchase. With dynamic ads, Jeweler was able to achieve an increase in return on ad spend of up to 3 times. Birdwell is another advertiser using dynamic ads on Instagram. During the course of their campaign, Birdwell reached their target audience and increased their attributed revenue by up to 10%. Based on these results, Birdwell has planned to incorporate dynamic ads across Facebook and Instagram together in an always-on campaign that is a core part of their new marketing plan. Before we get to your questions, here's a summary slide that highlights some of the key points that we've raised inside of this best practices webinar. Step 1, make sure that you've set up your proper events as well as product sets in order to run your dynamic ads. Set up your events across the entire conversion funnel and create product sets that match the most common and popular items in your catalog for the most effective bidding and recommendations. Step 2, make sure you set up your targeting based on actions and segment your audience based on the interest level. For example, you can set up different ad sets that target people who had viewed but not purchased than people that have added to cart but not purchased. Setting up your targeting options and your product sets appropriately are one really important way in order to maximize your success with dynamic ads. Step 3 is make sure you're maximizing the reach of your dynamic ads even outside of Facebook and across the Facebook family of apps and services inside of Instagram and the Audience Network in order to optimize for sales. Make sure you're also optimizing for sales in your dynamic ads rather than just clicks or impressions in order to maximize your return on ad spend and maximize your success. Finally, measure cross-device conversions using the Facebook ads reports in order to find out which devices your ads are served on and which devices people are ultimately converting. Using the Facebook Pixel and app events and the Facebook ad reports can deliver you better results and ultimately provide new information that can be very useful in optimizing your dynamic ads. And with that, let's open it up for questions. If you have questions, you can enter them in the questions window of the go-to-market control panel on your screen. We're going to pause for about 30 seconds to read through some of the questions that you've already submitted, and then we'll get started answering them. The first question that we've received from the audience is how can I increase my scale on my dynamic ads? I've been using dynamic ads for a while, and I'd like to get even more performance and even more scale. One of the first ways that you can try to optimize your dynamic ads is to make sure that you're targeting broadly. Make sure that you're targeting at least that you're including all of the products from your catalog in your dynamic ads campaigns, as well as making sure that you're using and taking advantage of the new advanced placements that we offer in dynamic ads, such as the Audience Network, as well as Instagram. You might also want to consider raising your bids in some circumstances during high traffic periods on your website in order to take advantage of high value shoppers that are shopping with you. So number 1, make sure that you're creating campaigns that include all products from your product catalog. Make sure that you're taking advantage of the placements that we offer, including Instagram and Audience Network. And then third, make sure that you're raising bids during high value times or high traffic times on your website in order to create more opportunities for you to reach the most valuable shoppers on your site. The next question is about the Audience Network. How does website behavior on my product catalog and inside my website translate to targeting on the Facebook Audience Network. The Facebook Audience Network actually is just the exact same type of behavior that you experience that you're used to and you experience inside of the Facebook newsfeed. It's just an extension of that Facebook newsfeed inventory. So by checking the box on the Audience Network, and similarly by checking the box on Instagram, you can get the exact same ad experience in more places around the web and even outside of Facebook in order to serve your ads. People are shopping broadly across the web and using many different apps and services, not only Facebook. And with the Audience Network, you can actually extend your reach even outside of Facebook in order to reach people as they broadly shop around the internet. The next question is again about the Audience Network, and is it possible to use the Audience Network for ads other than dynamic ads? And yes, it is possible. You can use the Audience Network in order to target any type of ad on Facebook. In fact, it's just an extension of Facebook advertisements. You can check the box on the Audience Network and you can reach people with many different types of ads, including dynamic ads. The next question is about whether you can use dynamic ads for items other than products. For example, for services or digital products, not just physical products. In many ways, although dynamic ads was originally built for e-commerce and retailers, it is also useful for many other types of verticals as well. We have recently launched, in fact, dynamic ads for travel, which allow companies that are selling either hotel rooms or flights in order to use the power of dynamic ads in order to increase conversions from their customers. And even if you're not e-commerce, retail, or travel business, you can still use dynamic ads. We've seen many different types of businesses use dynamic ads in order to drive conversions on their website. For example, education companies, travel companies, we've seen real estate companies using dynamic ads. Many companies and types of companies have been successful hacking dynamic ads for their purposes in order to increase sales of their products. Now we have a question about product image sizes. If your product images aren't 600 by 600, how will that affect the performance and the options available to you in dynamic ads? Well, the first way that having low quality images impacts your performance is that they just look worse on Facebook. Having high quality images inside of Facebook increases the chance that people will stop and dwell and pay attention to your advertisements as well as ultimately click through. So I would make sure that your ad images are high quality and that they are at the appropriate resolution for Facebook ads so that you can maximize your chance of success. Often we see marketers just uploading their Google feeds to Facebook, and Google feeds on average have pretty low quality or low resolution images inside of them, whereas Facebook requires a higher quality image in order to be successful. So one thing that I would do is I would go through your product catalog, I would check the images column, and I would just make sure that most of the images in there are at least 600 by 600 in order to display best inside of Facebook. The second way that having low quality images or images that aren't the proper resolution impacts you is Instagram. Instagram actually has a much higher quality threshold for their dynamic ads than does the Facebook newsfeed. And if images aren't at least 600 by 600, they will not be eligible to be served on Instagram. So both to increase your ultimate click-through rate as well as to be eligible to serve your dynamic ads inside of Instagram, we recommend that you take a look at your product catalog and you upgrade your images. We have a question. If my brand doesn't have an Instagram account and they want to leverage the reach on Instagram or additional reach on Instagram, is it still a best practice to check the box on Instagram? In fact, it's required to have an Instagram account and connect that to your Facebook page in order to run your dynamic ads. So if you don't yet have an Instagram account, I would recommend creating one, and that's going to make it much easier for you to get started running your dynamic ads and increasing your reach. We have a question about, is it possible to create a successful dynamic ads campaign for a small business who has a very low marketing budget? Dynamic ads can work for businesses of all sizes. The only thing that the budget will limit you to is your scale. If you have a very small budget and you're trying to run dynamic ads, it can be very difficult for you to get delivery because you can very quickly run out of opportunities to serve after your budget has been expired. So that's really the only difference. We've seen dynamic ads work for small businesses, large businesses, medium-sized businesses. Really, any type of business is eligible to use dynamic ads if you're willing to go through the setup. Budget only impacts your scale. And we have a question about how often we recommend refreshing your creative assets. So if you remember back to the part of the webinar where we talked about your creative comes from your product catalog, really your creative should be refreshed as often as is your inventory. The creative inside of your dynamic ads is pulled programmatically from your product catalog that you upload to Facebook, right? So make sure that the creative inside of your product catalog is reflective of the product experience that people, when they click through and land on your website, will see. So most of the time, in order to automate the creative for dynamic ads for large businesses, they'll simply download all of the images and the product shots that they use on their website and add those to the product feed. So if you want to do something different, you're more than welcome to. All you have to do is change the image link for each of the products found in your product feed. But most businesses, just for efficiency, just take the images from their website, copy that link, and put it inside the product feed. And the most important thing by far about the creative inside of dynamic ads is that it is accurate, that the items are in stock, that they are at the appropriate price, so that when people click on your product, they don't get to your web page and find that product out of stock or at a more expensive price than what was advertised. And we have a question about optimized bidding. So can you please discuss automatic bidding versus manual bidding? And why should we let Facebook set the bid for the dynamic ads? That is a great question. So you have three options when you're choosing to bid for dynamic ads. You can bid for impressions, which naturally will serve your ad as many times as possible to people that are looking at them on Facebook. You can choose to bid for clicks, which will naturally try to maximize the number of clicks and ultimately traffic that arrives at your website. Or you can choose to optimize for conversions, which uses Facebook's sophisticated algorithms that try to predict the best performance and maximize the number of conversions for your business. If you're looking for impressions, bid for impressions. If you're looking for clicks or website traffic, bid for clicks. And if you're looking for sales, it's really important that you optimize for sales whenever possible. Using Facebook's optimization for sales will maximize the number of conversions that you receive and minimize the cost per action that you receive. So whenever possible, use optimize for sales for Facebook dynamic ads. We have a question about turning off products that are out of stock. Facebook dynamic ads automatically turns off ads for items that are out of stock in your product catalog. Now, the really important part of this is that in order for Facebook to know that, you have to keep your product catalog up to date. And that's why we recommend that you set a schedule for Facebook to regularly download your product catalog from your website so that we can know whether or not a price has changed or a product has gone in or out of stock. Every time the product catalog updates, we receive new information about the inventory and the things that you'd like to sell. And when things are marked as out of stock inside of that product catalog, Facebook will automatically turn off the ads for that item and not show them inside of ads. So as long as you're keeping your product catalog up to date, we're never going to show out of stock products. And we have a question about how quickly dynamic ads can be served. For example, let's say someone visits your website but hasn't yet purchased the product. How quickly can they be served an ad? And then also, how quickly will they be excluded from the campaign after they've made a purchase? So dynamic ads are served automatically and in an always-on way. For example, you can set up your dynamic ads, and once they're running, they will just start automatically showing to people who have expressed interest in your products or viewed products on your website. On average, we serve dynamic ads extremely quickly, in most cases under a minute. So if someone theoretically were to view a product and then show back up on Facebook, it's possible that we would be able to serve them an advertisement within under a minute that is relevant to the products and their interests that they expressed on your website. And the same is true for purchases. So after they've purchased the item, we will automatically suppress it in under a minute in order to maximize your results. So we'll serve ads in under a minute, and we also suppress them in about the same amount of time. Now, just a really important note about our auction, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that someone will see a product, right? The performance in the auction and the time of a person seeing an advertisement all depends on the amount of your bid as well as the quality of your advertisement. So if you're setting your bids appropriately and if the quality of your advertisements are high because your creative is good and you've kept your product catalog up to date, then you really should be maximizing the amount of conversions that you receive and the amount of ads that you serve. But it all depends on our auction. The performance and the timeliness of the ads is not dependent on dynamic ads necessarily. It's dependent on the bids and the quality of your ads and our auction's interpretation of your ads. Okay, we have a question about how we determine which products will be shown to a user. That is a very good question. So one of the things that we have been doing at Facebook on dynamic ads is building a really sophisticated product recommendations engine. Our product recommendation engine effectively takes all of the information about people browsing your website and all of the information that we have about your product catalog and tries to predict what is the most relevant product among all of the things that you sell in order to show this person at any given time. Our recommendations are computed per person and at the specific moment in which that person is viewing the ad. So for example, someone may be viewing a red blouse, a black pair of shoes, and then a washing machine on your website. Let's say you're a gigantic retailer that sells all of those things. Our product recommendations engine would take all of that information into account and then do its best effort in order to decide which of those products were they more interested in than the others. It may not always be the last one that they viewed. For example, if they viewed black flats last, but they had previously viewed a lot of washing machines, our recommendation algorithm would appropriately recognize that that person was interested in washing machines, and it may show a washing machine instead of those black flats. So we always try to predict the most relevant advertisement, the most relevant product to show in our ads, not necessarily the one that was last viewed.
All right, guys, we are at time. Thank you, Gabriel, for all the insights that you provided. And thank you all for tuning into our webinar on Dynamic Ads Best Practices. Hope you all found it useful. For more information on Dynamic Ads or other Facebook advertising solutions, you can always visit facebook.com/business. And again, as a reminder, we've been getting a lot of questions about this. You will be getting the recording of this session shortly in the coming days. So let us know what you thought of the webinar by completing our survey at the end as you're leaving. Your input is extremely valuable to us and will make our future webinars even better for you. Thanks again and see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.